When you start anything, when you start out on a path to anywhere, whether it be to learn something new, to create a business, to become more in shape, the first step, the first day, the first minute, okay, you're excited. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kick ass, right? And the next day comes and you're like, man, this is a little tougher. And then you take another step and another step. And maybe you get to Thursday or Friday and you're like, this is pretty hard, man. And then what happens is the enthusiasm from the beginning of the process starts to fade out.
There is no substitute for hard work. You show up, you clock in, you get done, period. And anything else is an excuse.
Motivation is a very fickle thing, and that successful people learn that you cannot rely on motivation. Successful people learn how to function with or without it every single day.
The same thing I do all the time. Go out there and do my best. Show up early, work harder than everybody else. Be innovative, try to create, never be afraid to fail.
If you are doing the same thing you did yesterday, you're not improving. You're not changing your life. And it's about having one life, guys.
For some people out there that aren't feeling good, man, if you just fucking struggled more, you get over that struggle, you feel better. It sounds so simplistic, but I swear by it.
Every single person has a choice at every single moment. It may be just varying degrees of difficulty in those choices, but you always have a choice. You can always change.
You put in 120% every time, or you don't put in nothing, because listen to me very closely. Today, this opportunity you have, it might not be here next year. It might not be here the year after next. It might not be here the year after that. This is the only moment you got, and you better take advantage of this particular moment.
And in regards to laziness, I think it's a very important thing to understand that as humans, we have this ability to think that everything we experience, all the emotions, are very much unique to us. But you have to understand that every single person in the world suffers from the same problems. Everyone is by default lazy. It is the easiest thing to do. It requires no energy, no effort.
Time is not going to wait. So if you have 24 hours in a day and you're spending 16 at work, and if you have that one extra hour, whether it's you going through your social media, watching TV, spend it in the gym. Spend it on becoming better.
It's such an important thing to realize that every single person, me included, and every successful person you could think of, Elon Musk, he probably also would find it easy to be lazy, but he chooses not to be. It's a choice. It's an understanding that being lazy is just easy, and you don't want to take the easy path. The path of least resistance, the path that requires no effort, no energy.
In the beginning, everybody's excited. In the beginning, everybody's going to become a billionaire. In the beginning, everybody's going to conquer the world. But after a few weeks, a few months, maybe even a few years, they start to get tired. They start to get frustrated. They start to ask, why is this so hard? They start to ask, why is this so hard for me? And they think it's just them, and they think the whole universe is coming down on them. And that's when people quit. And guys, we all feel that way. We all have times of frustration. We all have times of anger. We all have times of why me? Why is this so hard for me? But at the end of the day, guys, when you start feeling that massive frustration, that massive anger, that massive irritation and massive stress, you are about to have a breakthrough. You are about to move through an area that most people can't make it through. And you've just got to keep moving. Because when you make it through that area, that's when shit gets fun. That's when you say, oh shit, man, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually an entrepreneur.
Everybody feels lazy and demotivated, But it's the people who succeed are the ones who identify that first, and then the ones who start fighting it, and then the ones who figure out how to continue fighting it for the rest of their lives without falling back.
You got to be in command of your own schedule if you want to be the best.
Look at your schedule now. Pull it out. Look at your everyday life. Where are you spending your time? Is it more performance oriented, or are you preparing for that day of performance? Or are you waiting for somebody to choose you? I don't want any waiting. I want practice, performance, training. Look at your schedule. It's a very simple exercise.
I tell you this, if success was just a joyride, there would be far more successful people. There's a reason that not many people achieve what they want to do and live the lives they really want to do, because it requires, you know, hard work is one thing, but it requires you to conquer yourself. You are the only one stopping yourself from doing whatever the hell it is that you want to do. There will always be excuses. You can always point fingers at someone else that say someone else has it better. At the end of the day, it's you who chooses to watch TV, to watch YouTube, to browse Facebook when you know you should be doing something else. Close those browsers. Turn the TV off. Go do something that you normally wouldn't. Start leading an unusual life. Don't fall into your patterns, your lazy habits. You gotta keep breaking the pattern, the routines, keeping things on the edge, changing your surroundings, always kind of like figuring out how to resist that urge to just like settle down and sit your ass down and lay down on the couch and just mindlessly watch Netflix.
That's so important in this life. This life doesn't have enough of that. There's not enough struggle. You don't get to know yourself without struggle. You don't get to know your boundaries unless you push them. You don't get to know who you are really unless you're tested.
If you sacrifice and make the sacrifices each day, then you'll see the gains, man. It's all about a mindset. It's all about sacrificing and being willing to go through what it takes, you know? And when I say that, I'm talking about discipline, the desire, the determination, the dedication.
Don't be lazy. You're not gonna go far in life if you choose not to practice.
If you have discipline, if you have willpower, the more you use them, the stronger they get.
You're spectacular. You're all capable of being world beaters. You transform yourself into something that's articulated and sensible and grounded in history and knowledgeable and wise, man. You can do anything you want, and hopefully anything you want for good.
Ask yourself, like, how bad do you want to try living an extraordinary life? You have one shot. Why not give it your all? Why not fight that urge not to, take the risk, not to do the things that you feel uncomfortable with doing? It's the only way forward. You've done, do it for yourself. You have to understand that nobody gives a shit about what you do with your life. And I don't mean this in a rude way. Someone sees my success, they'll be like, oh, they'll forget about it in a few seconds and start thinking about their own problems again. That's how the world works. Everybody's kind of centered around themselves. So you gotta find the energy every single day to do it for yourself, not for the rest of the world, because they don't care. Everybody else is focused on their own problems and their own life. They'll give you a little bit of attention, but they'll go right back to their own.
And along your journey in becoming great at anything, you're gonna have these curves appear over and over and over again. But you have to keep in mind, guys, things are the hardest right before they get better. Things are the most frustrating right before they get better. Things are the worst right before they get better. And it's hard to remember that when you're going through it. It's hard to remember that when you owe every single creditor, when your wife or husband's yelling at you for spending too much time at work, or too much time in the weight room, or too much time on this or that or whatever. It's hard to remember that things are gonna get better. but they are, and this is part of the process. And all of us go through these little curves. We all do it. And guys, it's the ones who understand that things are going to improve and keep focused on the end result that make it through these curves. When you start focusing on how bad everything and how frustrated you are and how angry you are and how tough it is really easy to talk yourself into quitting. But when you keep in mind why you started, when you keep in mind what your goals are, when you keep in mind what it is you're trying to accomplish, and you keep those things, at the forefront of your brain, written down everywhere you see anything, and you think about them and focus on them a day in and day out basis, guys, your chances of making it through these frustration curves increases tremendously. So learn how to control your focus, learn how to think about what the end result is, learn how to use the natural momentum and energy you have to accelerate the process of learning, but also know that the grind and the grit and the toughest, darkest parts of any journey are right before shit gets fun.
Listen, you're watching this video now. If you're feeling lazy or demotivated, go do something. Go for a run. Go do something that you typically wouldn't do, and see the little emotions that start following that kind of action where you break through. Like, that is what success is fighting against those instincts of taking it easy and living a comfortable life. Success is a difficult choice, and it's not like you achieve it and then it's easy. No, I fight myself every single day. I feel that's what life is all about, is figuring out how to battle those lazy kind of instincts of just taking it easy, chilling, and realizing that achieving and experiencing the most beautiful things in life requires you going upstream and not just flowing mindlessly downstream.
When you feel like giving up, don't. When you're thinking about giving up, don't. When it look like you ain't gonna make it, keep going. When they tell you you can't, come on man, who are they?